Hello everyone. Can you see me, hear me? Okay. Looks like I should be online. You can't hear a thing I'm saying, can you? I assume people are still following because I can't really see it now. Let me just open this up someplace else. Okay. Looks like I have two launches, two book launch streams. One that only lasted 2 minutes, and the other that is currently ongoing. I have to control them. Okay. Yeah, there's a lot of trial and error in this stream right here, so I'm still gonna fumble around a bit, and by that I mean a lot. It's part of the learning experience, I guess. This is what you get for not having media studies. So yeah, stay in school, kids. Anyway, hello and welcome once again to the Heir's Lair. I'm your host, now published author Jonathan Taylor. This is a bit different from my usual background, but that's because my filming setup is also somewhat different. I have actually filmed from my laptop before, but mainly I've mainly done screen capture stuff. This is the first time I'm actually using my laptop's onboard camera. And also it's onboard mic, so you're basically seeing and hearing me as most people I Skype or Zoom with experience me. I hope this is fine with you. I'll even leave a greeting in chat. Don't know how many people will... Wait a second. Don't know how many people will see this, but I'm also going to up my chances somewhat. I'm also making this an Instagram live. This ought to be fun. So, 3, 2, 1. Hello everyone. I am live on Instagram as well, just in case. So I'm here on YouTube and over there on Instagram. It's not the same feed, so it's not necessarily a simulcast like I advertised a few days ago, but lots of things have changed since a few days ago, so this is what you're getting. Regardless, both the YouTube stream and the Instagram live will be available at later points. So enjoy while I now go through new tweets. Yeah, good. Now it's time to go through the writing queue until I receive some viewer questions. The writing queue hashtag on Twitter. I probably should mention that. Okay. Here it is. Oh, we have another viewer. Hello, whoever you are. I hope you enjoyed this. It's time we And over on Instagram, no one doesn't matter. Until I receive questions from my YouTube audience, which, by the way, you are totally encouraged to do so. I'm going to go through the writing queue hashtag on Twitter and answer various questions concerning writing. So here comes. First one from Grace EH. What modes of transportation exist in your story/world? Do these have any historical significance or connections? And it's part of the question crew hashtag, which is another hashtag I've been following. So up until now, I've given written replies to this hashtag. Now I'm gonna give a filmed reply, or yeah, it's still filmed even if it's filmed from two sources. Anyway, the answer is, well, people can just walk everywhere. It would take forever, but it's doable to some extent. There are also trains. There also are trains and cars and streetcars, and you can also use trucks to move stuff around. To move stuff around on distances that are too short or too impractical for trains. So, for most intents and purposes, it is my world basically has modern transportation, so to speak. A recommendation to a blog about the history of the world you've created. Well, I already have a video on on the history of my world. I'm not going to. I should have thought about presenting some links, but if you go to my channel, you will find them. By the way, my channel is linked. I'm talking to my Instagram audience now. My channel is linked right there in my profile. I got a link that leads you to all of my links. Just go to YouTube and go to my main channel, and you'll find it there. Same goes for you, actually. So just so you know. What's your usual chapter length? Do you find it changes between projects or genres? Well, the average project length I've been going for, or that I've happened to land upon while writing Heir to the Emperor Next Generation, was about 5,000 words. No particular reason, I just think it's a good length to describe everything I wanted to describe in that particular chapter. Where do you expect to find content warnings in a book? Another one by E.M. Harding. Oh yeah, I should have probably done better at giving credit to the people actually asking. The first one with the modes of transportation is from Grace E.H. The one about histories of the worlds is from Lake and Honeycutt. Also available under @mycelial writer. The one with chapter length is from Gabriela Baba, @Gabriela Baba. Okay, now E.M. Harding with the question about where to find content warnings. Well, it's nice to put them either in the description or in the or somewhere in the beginning of the book. I probably should have done that, but really I've been pretty polite. I didn't really include anything that would really necessitate a content warning, or at least I don't think so. If I am wrong, then please let me know. Another one from AK Naftali or @Quill Questions. Have you ever felt a strong desire to spoil your WIP, your work in progress? No, I haven't. That is actually a constant struggle when it comes to answering writing questions like this, because you have to reveal just enough that people are interested, but not so much as to spoil the actual point. It's a difficult balancing act, and it takes a while to really get it. But you settle on something eventually. @Kathleen @KFox _writes asks, tell me you're a writer without telling me you're a writer. And her answer is, the voices in my head want out and I'm their medium. Okay, that's a creative way of putting it, actually. I think about writing more than I actually write. Sad but true, Question by @Even Solera. I'm assuming she. Let's see her profile. Let's see, writer, poet, currently working on fantasy and poetry book about, yeah. So I should just go with they. What is their question? Are people allowed to refuse medical treatment or certain types of treatment in your world? If so, does that occur often? If not, why aren't people allowed a choice? Well, I guess when it comes to epidemics, this topic is pretty relevant right now. When it comes to epidemics, people aren't allowed that. Because, yeah, that harms them and they might be okay with that, but it'll also harm other people. And it's not okay for them to be harmed by whatever decisions others make. So that is the main drive of the decisions behind that. Also, if you're interested, give Eden Solera a follow. They do a lot of questions, and all of them focus on one particular topic, and they typically go through about about one major topic per month. This time it's about medicine in the world. So other questions have included stuff like what's the level of medical technology or medical science? Do certain diseases exist? Do certain treatments for these diseases exist? How does stuff like rehabilitative medicine look like in your world? A whole bunch of other pretty smart stuff. So yeah, give them a follow if you'd like. Okay, one from Jack Buchanan _JB or @Jack Buchanan _JB. Jack is GAC, not GACK. I've never written erotica and rarely write full sex scenes, but I'm giving it a shot. What's your advice on writing erotica? Make people want to approach your topic. Make people want to see themselves in the setting you're describing. That is somewhat more complicated than it actually sounds, because you really have to think about, well, what is it actually like to be there? What are the sounds? What are the smells? You don't necessarily just have to include the sensory stuff, but the sensory stuff does help. You also have to. You don't have to, but it helps to include all the certain stuff like emotional connections, or get us in the headspace of the characters. Like, what is the importance of this sex scene over other sex scenes? What is the relationship between the characters, and do they know each other? Is there any kind of awkwardness or anything like that? Just consider that. Just consider that, and let me know what comes up. Okay, I got a new follower. Thank you to Miranda Shepard @MirandaShepard14. Another one from Sam Clover @Clover Erotica. I wonder if it's another erotica question. Let's see. Has your MC ever been sleep deprived during the course of their story? How did it affect them? Well, it does technically happen both times during moments of extreme stress, i.e. battle, and for the most part they still remain as professional as they've always been, but maybe there's a bit more tension going on between them, so they might be a little bit more likely to snap at each other. But otherwise they are very much professionals, and they don't really sink to that. This hopefully doesn't sound like a cop-out, but it's the truth. Like, even if they're 19, they're still, they've still been in military schools for a while, so they know how to or within the military setting for a while, even if they're not, even if they're not fresh out of school, they know how to conduct themselves. It's been drilled into them, so to speak. And another one from @metascene_mark. Has anyone here created fictional slang or euphemism? I do kinda. I've done a pretty creative thing when it comes to cussing. Namely, I did some workarounds. Namely, all the cusses I use are just transliterations of what the cusses are like in German. So instead of the F word, I used another F word that has the same meaning only in German. And when it comes to the SH word, I used a word that sounds similar to the one that Germans use. It's completely made up, but it's there, and it has the same meaning in story. Why did I use those? Well, because cultural similarities that are predicated upon how I built the story pretty much made that possible. Another one from @WritingShalini. Do you prefer writing short chapters or long chapters? Well, how long can a chapter be and still be called short, and how short can a chapter still be and still be called long? Because, I've pretty much landed on chapters of around 5,000 words. Is that short? Is that long? I don't know. Do you have a preference as a reader? Well, as long as you can keep me engaged, I can read basically anything. Right now, my cell phone is actually standing on my Witcher books, and Witcher books are, and the thickest of them is like, I don't know, over 500 pages, and there are less than 10 chapters. So you can imagine the chapters themselves are like freaking huge. But if you know what to do within that chapter, you're cool. Like, don't sweat it too much. Write purposefully. Another one from, oh no, this is an answer. An answer from, by a question of Nikki Reese writes. Let's see what her, I assume her. I'll still go with her because reasons. Do you write a little every day or set aside a couple larger chunks of writing time in your week? I recommend you write as close to every day as you can. You're not gonna be able to write every day because writer's block. Regardless of what people say, it is actually a thing. And the thing about writer's block is, as I said it before, it's like an avalanche. You can't stop it, but you can direct it. So if you write for a certain amount of days every week, then you can use the rest of the days of your days to just unwind your creative process and maybe build up some new ideas that you can then later insert into your story. Another one from Lara Rouse writes. I assume that's how that name is read. Who is your MC most themselves around? Well, Martha and Elizabeth have been best friends since childhood. They pretty much are the most themselves around each other. Victor is pretty much whoever he wants to be, so there's not really, you can't really talk about him being most himself around anyone. And Juliana, I would say, is most herself around people she loves or the people she cares about. Mainly her friends, but also her love interest. Another one from Quill Questions, @QuillQuestions. What is an interesting fact about your world? I actually gave a written answer to this, but I'm going to give a recorded one as well. It's that I have 4 continents on my, in the world I've written about. However, one of the continents is actually a very large collection of archipelagos, not unlike Oceania. Okay, they don't spread over the same distance, but it's basically Oceania. And I'm not sure if I should be ashamed to admit that. Another one from @kfox_writes. Do you prefer single POV or dual multi-POV books when reading? Is it the same when you're writing? Well, I'm writing I'm writing a book with multiple POVs, or rather I've written, and I'm now plotting a book with another book with multiple POVs. Yeah, by the way, shocking reveal, I'm working on the sequel to The Next Generation. What's it called? I'll tell you about it once I get further along with it. Anyway, this sequel will also have multiple POVs, and when it comes to single or multi POV, well, that again very much depends on the story you're trying to tell. If you're trying to tell a romance from the perspective of someone who is recovering from an addiction, then writing from multiple perspectives might be worth it, or it might not be. If, however, you are writing about a global conflict, it very much benefits you to talk about it from multiple perspectives. For a wide variety of reasons, I'm not going to go into them right now. For reading or when writing, well, I've already said about what it's like to write. When it comes to reading, I don't know. I don't actually care. Like do your thing, and if it's good, I'll soak it up. I'll absorb it. Now we have one from Maria Walewski. Do you follow popular writing advices to write every day? I've already debunked it, so to speak. Do you follow this rule when you're sick? You should try at least. It would keep you busy, keep your mind still working, and it might just give you a morale boost. And I think everyone can use a morale boost when they're sick, even when you can't get out of bed or have a fever. Well, if you can't get out of bed, there is one Armenian painter called Stefan Lukian. He was struck with paralysis when he was in his 30s, though pretty young. However, most of his best work was stuff he painted when he was actually paralyzed. So ideally bring it to yourself, because everything I said about about motivation boost that writing or doing something will bring you, that holds especially true if you're otherwise encumbered, and if you, for example, have a fever. Yeah, that's my answer to that. Now one from @Revel Woman. Sometimes symbolism is hard to nail in a story without beating the reader over the head, but I'm quite happy with how I've woven it in. Okay, what's a symbol in your story? There are plenty when it comes to birds, but I won't really go into too many of them, because they are to some extent reveal certain spoilers. One from @ren_does_stuff. Do you have a song that represents your work in progress well? If so, what? Well, my work in progress is still in the plotting stages, so I can't really say that there is a song that really represents it. If it were, it would be something I don't know, chaotic. Think about chaotic and distressful. Think about the yakety sax metal, if that makes sense. Okay. One from @Myrna0722. What season best describes your MC? I think I already went through this. No, I know I already went through a similar question at some other point, but I'm gonna record an answer now anyway. Martha is autumn. Elizabeth is winter. Juliana is spring, and Victor is summer for the most part. I think Martha and Victor could be swapped around. One occasionally takes summer while the other takes autumn. But however, Elizabeth and Juliana are pretty much exactly that. Another question from at Kira the Win 1 from Question Crew. Fantasy sci-fi world building. Does your world have any unique celestial bodies? Another one I've already answered in writing, and the answer is I didn't really think up the story with the world having any unique celestial bodies. However, when I was writing the answer to this question, I realized I didn't really give any description on any moon this world might have. So maybe it has 2 moons, maybe it has none, maybe it has 5, and and who knows, maybe not all of them are visible at the same time. That could be something, but really I'm not going to go into that. Another one from at Clover Erotica. What encouraging words would you have for writers new to the publishing world? Find what works for you and stick to it to the best of your ability. Another one from at Gabriela Baba. Does your MC have any daily rituals or habits? Do they get upset if their ritual is interrupted? I thought about giving them rituals, but aside from really getting in and out of bed and generally following a schedule, they don't really have one. And I distinctly differentiate schedules from rituals because those are not the same thing. They are functionally the same thing, but from a spiritual or motivation standpoint, they have completely different objectives. I was thinking about maybe having some of them pray, but I don't know. Maybe this is my atheism bias showing. I didn't, because reasons. One from at Claudia L. Brook. Is there any magic jewelry in your story? Amulets, rings, or other magical items? Well, there are some jewels that can be enchanted, so to speak, and there are certain minerals that you can harness. So in a sense, they have magical energy that you can harness. But whether or not jewels themselves count as that, I didn't really decide. I'll just say no for now. Occam's razor. From Ed Author J. Stone. Do you take notes while reading for your review at the end? No. No, I don't. Sorry about that. And another one from Ed Eden Solera. Are things like case studies ever published / shared in your world? If so, how often, and what warrants something worth sharing with the wider community of doctors / healers? Well, this goes into some more formal stuff, like not just healthcare as medicine, but not just healthcare as science, but also healthcare as public service. And for the most part, I'll say my setting has what comes closest to universal healthcare. So pretty much everyone shares notes on any new breakthroughs that are relevant within the medical field. It's standard practice, really. Ed Dan Rice writes, is your protagonist heroic? Well, they do things that, well, for the most part, they do perform acts that could be considered heroic. I hope that really makes them heroic. Also, I just realized now that, in case anyone is wondering, I'm wearing a shirt I have from an old corporate overlord where I did an internship. they also had this race day where they and other corporate overlords took their drones out to run a marathon. Okay, marathon. It was a 6 kilometer race, and yeah, I decided, fuck it, I'm just gonna go run, and I did. One from at Victoria A. Levine. What musician or band best captures your MC's personality / voice, or at least inspires you to write them? My inspiration when it comes to my MCs doesn't really come from any musicians or bands. I do have certain songs that really capture their essence, so to speak, but I don't. But they're not. But again, they are not inspired by any people from within the by any people who are currently music performers, currently or in the past have been music performers. One from at Caffeineri. I should probably check my comments. Nothing? Oh, I'm disappointed. Anyway, no viewers, but whatever. It's the first stream, happens. What do we get? One from at Orpheus in Black. What measures do you take to stay motivated? Do you take breaks, hide your phone, reward yourself with chocolate? She needs something. She needs some new techniques. Well, my motivation comes from knowing that that a story is written. Otherwise, I do take breaks whenever whenever I think they're needed. Whenever I think, okay, I can still get something done today, but I first need a breather. I first need to piece these things together. Otherwise, I just kind of go through whatever. Don't promise myself anything. Don't deny myself anything. I guess my recommendation to Orpheus in Black is find something that motivates you. Like, yeah, I'm sorry if this piece of advice isn't helpful, but it is something that helped me, and hopefully it will help others as well. Another one from at Lair Rouse writes, what is your relationship with your characters like? If you as an author aren't pretty much like an abusive spouse to your characters, you're missing the point. Like, you really have to be kind of a dick to them at least occasionally, because that's how they grow, and that's how they inspire your readership. So yeah. What's next? Something from someone I haven't encountered yet. Okay, we got one at Kelly_Doherty, whose pronouns are she, her. What comes first, the world or the characters? They kind of spring up together for me, if I am to be completely honest. Though it does make a little bit more sense at least for me, to start with the characters. And then you can build around them the world that would really make them into what they are. And then from that world you can have other characters emerge. For the Heir to the Empire series, I pretty much started with the characters. And then everything else I fleshed out from that, from my expectations regarding them. At John Walker Wolf asks, your characters are tasked with creating an industry. How would they go about it? What does it mean, create an industry? Does that mean they open up a shop, start a new company, or does it mean that they are trying to create they're trying to create cars, and no one has cars in in whatever setting they find themselves in. I guess for the most part they just hunker down, figure out what they need, and go from there. If they were to work together, if they were to work separately, that would become very very difficult to really address. One from at EMC_scribbles. How does the real world find its way into your writing? Themes, allegories, blatant retellings? I kind of do all of that, to be honest. A lot of the setting is based around how I could create parallels between the current peoples of Europe and the ones in my story. How effective that is, I can't really say. I hope it's pretty good. As for allegories, yeah, there are plenty of those. There are plenty of those as well. I detailed at least some of them in that history of the world video that I mentioned earlier. That I mentioned with, I think, one of the first questions I actually answered. Another one from @QuillQuestions. Have you made any memes for your work in progress? No. And also I don't think I plan on any, because I don't know. I think memes just very much date your work instantly. Okay, this is an interesting one from @TheSweetPaisana, or Paisana. How should I say it? I don't know. What makes your MC likable / lovable? Marfa is very diligent. She has her goals, and she sets out to accomplish them, and is very by the book in that sense. But she isn't cold. She tries to do what's best towards the people around her as well. Elizabeth has a very well developed voice, I'll say. Probably because she's my self-insert. And in effect, you can get inside her head, figure out how she thinks, and I think that will make her more interesting. Juliana is just fun to be around, and Victor is kind of a character whose trash talking is fun to follow. Yeah, those are my answers. One from @sci-fi_dragon. When crafting your magic system, how much of real life concepts do you weave into it? Well, I try to weave quite a bit into it, actually. It would not be completely inaccurate to call my magic system a martial art as well. A martial art based around elements, like in the Avatar franchise. Otherwise, I try to add some level of symbolism, but more of actual science into how these elements interact and what kind of creations they make happen. Another one from @Gabriela Baba. Do you like writing banter? Yes, very much so. Does your MC like participating in it? Depends on the MC. When it comes to light banter, so just chit chat, small talk, I think only Marfa would really be interested or into that, and even then, not that much. The second on that classification would be Juliana. That's because she enjoys getting to know people. She's kind of like a dog in that sense. As for Victor and Elizabeth, they prefer more pointed conversations, ones that have more of a role than just filling dead air. They don't actually mind dead air. Okay, who's next? Oh, Ed Super Stacy Free 18. We haven't met you yet. How many times have you written your first chapter? Or the first three at least, due to info dumping? I actually try to keep info dumping to a minimum, or at least I try to introduce new new pieces of information in ways that would be most plausible. In that sense, when you know how to, when you have an idea of how to do it, you can do it without info dumping. The thing is, you have to come up with the idea. For me, it was first of all establishing the setting, and then establishing that the characters have an interest in heraldry, and then you can discuss that a bit. You can discuss that somewhat. Then we have then in the second chapter I have more characters who come from different settings, and then meeting together tells you that this world is diverse and interconnected. And then the third chapter is probably the most info dumpy of the three, and it basically describes a week in the life of an officer cadet within the story. As in, I'm describing what kind of courses they have to take and when they are scheduled and that kind of stuff. So yeah, find ways to introduce this information organically, and you should be fine with it. One from @NativeProtag. Before I go to my 8-hour shift, that was a few days ago, how does your character or love interest say "I love you" without actually saying "I love you"? Well, I guess taking care of others is pretty much something every MC has in common. Now that I think about it, those are the love languages they all default to some extent at least. Another one from @MyCelialWriter. Oh no, wait, I actually answered that already. I answered a similar question before regarding magic jewelry. Anyway, another one from @EdenSolera. Are surgeries done anywhere in your world? Yes. If so, are they considered relatively safe, or are they so dangerous that they're treated as a last resort? No, they are relatively safe, so to speak. The techniques around the surgery have been almost as refined as they are today, even though arguably the sterilization techniques are not as well refined within my setting as they are in real life. And let's see, how long has this stream been going? Only 43 minutes. I guess I could go through a few more questions and then stop. Or at least this is how long it's going on YouTube. Does Instagram say? Can I see anywhere? Can I see it anyway? Yeah, I don't see any hints towards that, so I'm just gonna move forward. From @WillaDrewOffer, would you rather read a sequel or a prequel? That very much depends on the story. So sorry, I can't say one way or another. Another interesting one from @KFox_writes. Do your personal memories make appearances in your characters' minds in your WAP? No, but they do have memories that are to some extent based on the ones I actually have. Another one from @Basilisk_art, or I think this is the first one from Basilisk Art. Have you ever used the colors in an environment to help tell a story? I don't use the colors to tell the story. I use the colors to set the mood, or set the stage, so to speak. What else can I answer? Okay, I'm starting to get into some repeats now, so I'll just go, I think I'll go one more and then stop. First I have to find one that is good. This is harder than I thought. And yeah, sorry about the Heir. But then again, if you've been watching this on YouTube, I think I already talked about that. I think you've already seen that by now. And now I'm going into questions I answered in the other Instagram live I made. Okay, I'll end on this one from @sci-fi_dragon. For the people who watch anime, so maybe not necessarily me, but whatever. Does anime inspire your work? I would say the next generation isn't really based on any particular anime plots or anime storytelling conventions. But I've noticed that the sequels I've planned for it kinda are, not gonna lie. So yes and no to that. Also, are you watching this season's new anime or catching up on some oldies? Like I said, the first part of the question doesn't really apply to me, and the reason for that is because I'm not really watching anything at the moment. I'm not even keeping up with any news from anime, regrettably, unless something is like so spectacularly groundbreaking that everyone's talking about it, like Attack on Titan was. Anyway, I said I'd do one more. I lied. What's something else I can answer? Something I haven't answered already? Fuck me, this is hard. Okay, we'll end on this one from Lair Rouse writes. Yeah, that's her at. What type of employee is your MC? Whatever they do, how do they feel about their work? What is their approach to it? Well, their work, so to speak, they're actually officer cadets, and for the most part, all of them take it seriously. If they were to be something other than officer cadets, I imagine Martha would be on the fast track to whatever success looks like in her field pretty soon. And that is regardless of whether or not we're talking about the economics of my story or any other or the economics of any other world. Elizabeth would be a little bit more reserved when it comes to that, as in she would seek to work, but she would seek to first of all find a happy medium for herself. So get her work-life balance checked out. Juliana would be very enthusiastic, very eager to learn. Not necessarily interested in promoting or climbing the corporate ladder. Just give her stuff to do. That is what she wants. And Victor would absolutely be the troublemaker who either starts a union or ends up leading it. but he's not a troublemaker just for the sake of being a troublemaker. He actually has points and reasons for why he does what he does, and for the most part, those reasons are connected to the well-being of those around him. And yeah, those have been my answers. I hope you, all of you, on both my streams enjoyed them. If you did, then please leave a like, and maybe even share this stream wherever possible. If you have anything you'd like to add to any of the questions or answers, yes, ambulance, you can go by if you will. Oh, Groger Writing. Groger Writing is watching right now as I'm about to close off. Well, thanks for being here anyway. And he's gone. Doesn't matter. And again, where was I? Oh yeah. If you have anything you'd like to add to this conversation, or maybe give your own answer to any of these questions, then the comment section awaits your input. And if you want to see when the next video comes out, then please subscribe. Ideally, also ring the bell or do whatever else YouTube will ask of you in order to keep you notified. Until next time, I'm Jonathan Taylor, and this has been the Heir's Lair.